Plastic is everywhere on Earth, shaping the world we live in. But what if it's no longer just outside, but closer to us than we think? Say hello to Alexander and Alan, co-founders of PlasticTox, who built the world's first at-home test kit that can detect microplastic in blood, a scientific breakthrough that could redefine preventive healthcare. Join me, Dr. Smita Karpate, in this episode of NXT Health Commune as we uncover the science and the hope behind detecting microplastic in blood. Alexander, you're a CEO of SV Biotech, and Alan, you are from Aero Labs, and welcome to my podcast. As I discussed, I'm working on a documentary to build awareness regarding microplastic in blood, and you're the only people who can detect microplastic in blood. So welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Before we dive into science, can you both share your professional journey and where did your path cross?
I was a regular clinical toxicologist for about 10 years. I got into environmental. Once I was done with clinical, I got into environmental. Some people in my family suggested microplastics testing as it was in the news at the time. I went to a few different clients. I pitched it to them. They were not interested. I went to the college that I used to go to. They weren't interested. And then I reached out to Alex, and Alex, their company was interested in helping me put this together. And so that's where we met, and I'll let Alex take it from there.
I started in all sorts of businesses. I came to Amsterdam when I was 22. I owned a restaurant, I owned a bar. I got to know Dr. Flecken, which later developed the test for us, for SV Biotech. And we started a biotech company based on her previous knowledge of cell line development, taking normal cell lines and making them and putting them into suspension. So improving the cell lines for basic research like drug discovery or vaccine production. So then Alan approached us and said whether we can develop a microplastic test. And so Dr. Flecken, took the challenge on. Took about a year to develop it. And we are about on the market now with Alan together for about a year. Slowly now also starting in Europe. But first of all, it was in the United States. So yeah, that's in short how we started it. And
okay. Somebody from your family, they said, but was there any social trigger that inspired you to actually get into this, or it was purely a business decision?
Well, no, when it was actually my youngest daughter who was learning about plastic pollution in the ocean. At the time, I was working on an environmental test. We're trying to find PFAS and Teflon, stuff like that in blood. And she asked me, she said, "Oh, are you looking for plastic in blood as well?" So it was pretty direct, and I probably wouldn't have thought about it if it wasn't for her. That was sort of what led to the catalyst of this whole thing.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, my daughter keeps asking me a couple of questions, and I understand what you're saying. Their questions actually make you think, like she was asking me about diabetes. And that made me think that, okay, there should be some school program for diabetes to understand and like that. So I get it. I'm able to relate with that. Actually, we know that this is the only investigation that is available that can detect microplastic in the blood. Okay, so could you explain me what technology you have built, and was it very difficult for Alexander to come up with this at-home kit because you're the first in the world to do this?
It took about a year to really get it done properly. A bit of trial and error. Dr. Flecken has a background in biology, but also in general chemistry. So yeah, this took some while, some trial and error, some different reference materials, etc. A few different methods, a lot of finger pricks, including myself. So we bled for it, literally. But yeah, in the end it worked out. Alan already had the idea of the testing kit quite sorted, so we just had to develop the method really.
The testing kit was kind of tricky, right? Because like ink toner, you can't use ink toner. Ink toner is made of compressed plastic. So as Dr. Flecken and Alex, they were getting together and working on the lab side, I was really researching how to make a kit that doesn't have any plastic contamination. And it took me just about as long as it took them to get this thing put together. And that was like you said, just trial and error. You try 100 different vendors, and maybe 3 of them don't have contamination.
I mean, it was a challenge in itself to to get our lab plastic free, because we had to use glass or metal. We couldn't use any lab plastic, so no pipette tips, no weld plates. So that was the first challenge, because we continuously saw the contamination in the test, and that's why we also have developed a method on how to take your blood sample and not to contaminate the sample, because we can see it in the test that there's some external plastics in there. So I think that was the biggest challenge. Yeah.
Correct. What if whatever you identify is coming from the lab contamination itself? So not you means like not the kit, but then when we identify what if it is from the lab, and that could be a skeptic question.
Yeah.
And I think I'm going to ask that later. Again,
Okay.
when you are identifying the microplastic in blood, what exactly is the technology that's there? Like, what is the methodology that you're using?
Right. I mean, it's a proprietary blend that we're using. But the interesting thing there is that it detects all known polymers. We've tested it on the ones that you see included in the insert. But in theory, this will bind to all polymers, and we're using just some of the more cutting edge stuff that you see in imaging.
And if we are saying about microplastic and nanoplastic, what's the
Right.
particle size that you are able to detect as of now, or is there any upper limit or lower limit in clinical setup?
It's about 1 to 70 micrometers we do. We
Okay.
don't do below, because yeah, the technology needs to be a bit more precise then. But that's about the range we're going for. Above
Okay.
70, I think like 30 to 40, then it becomes irrelevant, because it doesn't fit through the arteries anymore. Then we know it is going to be contamination. So I think 30 to 40, then we know it's contamination. Most
Okay.
likely from the taking the sample, like not washing your hands and not following the proper procedure and smearing it
Correct.
onto the blood card.
Okay. When you find these investigations, how reliable are these findings? Like, any kind of a lab test that you have done or any third-party validation that happened that helps us to tell that these findings are reliable for clinical investigations. I think it's already in the clinical trial setup.
Yeah.
So that's why
Yes.
how it is exactly helping.
So first and foremost, we had our method reviewed and peer reviewed by a CLIA-COLA certified lab. CLIA-COLA, as far as the U.S. goes, CLIA-COLA is the top person that you can go to. So
Yeah.
we really went through the best of the best to make sure that this method is completely accurate and sound and just good from the ground up.
Perfect. You operate like a lab, right? Like it's a diagnostic lab or a technology provider. And you collaborate with clinicians, institutes, and individuals. Now, what you have discovered so far, how common it's a problem, because you are in the market for more than 1 year or 2 years, I believe.
Correct.
So, how common is a problem? Like, if it is first in the world, I think you only have the data that probably nobody knows about it as of now.
Sure. About 98% of people have some particles in their blood. The average person has, in that couple drops, the average person has 21 particles of plastic just in that few drops of blood,
Okay.
which correlates to about 1 million particles of plastic in their whole bloodstream if you scale
Wow.
it
Okay.
up. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I expected it to be widespread. I did not expect it to be this widespread. This was shocking to
Okay.
It
everybody.
was shocking. Yeah,
Yeah.
nobody really
Mm-hmm.
knew what to expect when we started this, and it nobody was very aware of it either. There was a few studies. There was one of the studies, I think the most prominent one from the University of Amsterdam. I think it was about 20 people being tested, and that's where it all kicked off. And I think it was 2022. Before that, we knew it wasn't
Mm-hmm.
fish. We knew it was around, but how how much it was in the human body was not really known. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, we have the only database from that. And how many tests have we done so far, Alan?
Close
What,
to 4,000.
close to 4,000 now. Yeah.
Okay.
So
Yeah. But then 2% of people are there, those who do not have microplastic in their blood. I don't know what they're doing in their
we
life.
we have had a
That
few,
We,
is
but
we should
correct.
find out.
it's very uncommon. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, I agree. And is there any like findings are based on like age or gender or geography? Are there any kind of a pattern that you are able to observe?
I think if you're older, then your capillaries can be a little bit bigger, so you could have a
Mm-hmm.
few bigger particles in there. Maybe that's something we've seen. Otherwise, the bigger part of this is contamination, like I said earlier.
It appears to be, and we're not publishing this yet, details to come, but it does appear that the further out from like a big city you are, the less likely you are to be contaminated. The more rural zones seem to be trending down. We're gonna get these like some statisticians to actually look at this and chart this, but that's sort of what it looks like at the moment.
Okay. And any kind of a findings regarding occupation or lifestyle habits or anything, if you can correlate with the history that is available, any such findings that you are able to observe?
Not yet. Again, we're putting together studies right now, so we don't want to go off half cocked,
No.
but we're finding some things that you would probably typically expect.
Wow.
We had some people that tested several times, and they obviously did effort to minimize the microplastics. So we did see the decline in our test over 6 months, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I do have the kits with me. Help me understand then of what all the things that are there in the kit and how it's very easy. I've already seen it. I've also done a video for my documentary now, which we will be including. It's very simple, right? Like all that you just have to do the prick, which we all know how to do it. Put it on the card and just pack it and send it across, right? As simple as that. Nothing much.
Real simple. You even have a little online registration if you want to scan it with your phone. It's quite simple, and you have your result in about a month.
Yep. And currently, where all it is available?
We're shipping worldwide. There's been different interests. I would say that the U.S. and Europe and the U.K. are the big ones right now. But we, so far, we haven't had anywhere we can't ship to. So we are worldwide.
Yeah, definitely.
Got it.
But the biggest interest is from the United States, as Alan comes from the United States and started the whole journey there. We just started a separate company for Europe, PlasticTox Europe, just for the European regulations to conform with that. But we just started, so it's still early days for us.
Okay, wonderful. And US, of course, there is good awareness that's already there regarding, because of all the longevity-related research that is happening.
Yes.
And because of that, the awareness is much higher there. I also feel that many clinical trials are happening in US compared to rest of the world. And that could be also the reason that we have data findings and clinicians are interested in these things. My next question is gut microbe at home kit it started like 5 years back, and now it's like almost the mainstream. Everybody's going for that. It comes under that, the prevention aspect, or probably, like something to identify what's wrong with my system. It fits into that bucket. Now, do you think that the microplastic in blood can be a part of like a routine health checkup? Is there any of the country that is saying that, yeah, let's include this into a routine blood checkup?
Absolutely. I mean, I tell people we are essentially where lead testing was 30 years ago. We're where these mycology and the gut microbiome testing was 10 years ago. So we're just taking off, and I do think that you're going to see this as part of a lot of panels going forward.
Yeah. You are available worldwide. Okay, but is it affordable? We talked about the pricing. I was the one discussing with Alex by saying that, yeah, this is not very expensive even for India market. And but how's the feedback from the rest of the world? Are they saying that it is expensive, not required? How's the approach towards the cost of the investigation?
Sure. From the very beginning, now the feedback has been positive, pretty much worldwide, with the way our pricing structure is set up. A lot of these places, they launch in the United States, and you'll see test kits go for, I think the first 23andMe's kits were $1,300. A lot of people do that. I never wanted to do that. Alex even, Alex will remember me talking about this. I said, no, we wanted to provide a good product at a fair price from the beginning. Day one, the prices today are what they were from day one onward. And I could see maybe in like 5, 6, 7 years, as we switch to more automation, the price could even theoretically get lower. The goal was to get as much data as possible, not as much revenue as possible. And I always stuck at it from that way.
Okay. And when I was reaching out to Indian market to find out, the pricing point, gut microbe is the similar price if you look at it, and it identifies very few quality data. If I should not be criticizing, but if I put comparison, and I believe your investigation is able to identify top seven types of microplastic in the blood. What about the regulatory framework? Like we are sending the blood sample from one country to another. So are there any regulatory or safety concerns that anyone needs to remember?
Now, because this is a research kit, we are not a
Mm-hmm.
diagnostic lab. You give us a
Mm-hmm.
sample, we tell you how many plastics are in it. There's
Yeah.
very little regulation. Again, I keep harking back to 23andMe. We're under their
Mm-hmm.
same parameters. This is a research and development kit. This is not a diagnostic kit. We're not doctors. So
Mm-hmm.
because we operate inside of that framework, there's very little regulation, and they kind of let us do science in the way that we wish to.
Okay. Okay. Because it's in the research environment, are you collaborating more with the universities and
Yes.
the research organizations to work with this?
Well, yeah, Alex and I have both been working with a lot of
Mm.
these big partners.
Okay.
Yeah, we have research partners, we could say, like the Mayo Clinic in the United States. It's one of our partners that also brings out a paper right now. It's in review regarding
Mm-hmm.
research on microplastics, and we are the test kit provider for that. So that will be hopefully
Mm-hmm.
be released in the next, let's say, a couple of months. We have to see.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Okay.
we're also looking with Dutch research institutes. We're working together and some German ones, but this is still a little bit early to talk about, really, as we
Mm-hmm.
just started to go into Europe. But yes, research is a big project.
Okay. You started working on this, you're researching, there are clinical trials are happening, and this conversation is going on, right? Like there is a dialogue now to speak about whatever this microplastic in there in blood. How the government and health agencies are responding to your research and the noise that you are creating on digital platform and everywhere.
I think single-use plastic is a big topic in Europe in general. A lot of governments have touched that subject. They try to put some EU regulations on it. A lot of the plastics. I used to be in a restaurant business, so I know about single-use plastics. They changed to
Mm-hmm.
bamboo or wood or other materials, paper, and a lot of
Mm-hmm.
the single-use plastics has been taken out of the market. So the governments are doing something about it. I think they're not doing enough, but in Europe at least, it seems to be on the agenda, to put it that way.
And Alan, how is it in US?
We've had better luck talking to the Europeans in regards to
Okay.
this. Their work is being done
Yeah.
with a
Mm-hmm.
lot of different health ministers, but
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I hate to say it, but the U.S. side health ministers have been the slowest to pick this up.
Mm-hmm. Okay. There are few states, those who have completely banned the plastic bags,
Hmm.
and if you're using it, then you have to pay for it.
Yeah.
That's over here. Everybody's speaking at the environment level. Nobody's speaking at a health level, at least in India, as of now.
Mm.
Okay. Beginning I was asking this question that what if it is a lab contamination and not coming from the blood because they are not like pipette and other things that
Mm.
we use. So, and you said that that's where the maximum research happened, that how you replace that, probably the bias. Okay, so how do you address that skepticism?
Well, it took us a year to get there. We run a cell lab, so we use all sorts of plastics. We use the pipette tips, everything usual in the lab.
Yeah.
We use the tighter plates. We
Mm-hmm.
use everything is plastic. So for us, it was a huge challenge to change that. So that's I
Mm-hmm.
think at least half of the time took us or was used for getting rid of the plastics in the lab. So we switched to
Mm-hmm.
glass vials, um, glass pipettes, and pipette tips. So took us a lot of research to find these things because they're not very common.
Yeah.
That's part of the development time was just that, getting rid of the contamination.
Wow.
So once we have
Mm-hmm.
achieved that, we had our peer review, and our the person that peer or the lab that peer reviewed us was happy with our progress on that. So yeah.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, because glass is the answer, right? Which one is the biggest misconception that you have heard regarding microplastic in human health? The relevance of microplastic in related to human health?
Sure. The thing that I hear a lot is that people say, well, we've all got it and there's nothing that can be done about it. We've shown that by taking some very small steps, you can decrease the amount in your system by a substantial margin.
Yeah.
That's the big one for me.
I think that's easy steps to do it. Just get it out of your kitchen. That's the first step. Get rid of it in the kitchen. Don't drink from it. Those are 2 huge steps already. Then you're miles ahead of everyone else already.
Yeah. You both have, like, after knowing that it is available it's there in 98% of the samples that you have checked. Did you go back to your kitchen and did you make some changes at your home? Are you following such kind of a lifestyle?
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you go to, yeah, we changed from normal milk cartons. We're going to the farmer now and buying it in milk bottles. We buy the butter from the farm. We go to the market now and don't buy the wrapped in plastic vegetables and fruits. So yeah, we've done a lot. It's still quite hard and challenging to get rid of it completely because everything is packaged in it. As soon as you buy some fish or some meat, it's almost impossible to get it without. Wrapped in plastic. So we can still do more, but I think personally in our family we did a lot to get rid of it. No more plastic chopping boards, no more, because then you're just basically chopping it right in your food. So so yes, we did.
Correct. And Alan, how was the changes in your life like?
Yeah, it was pretty much make a change every day. The first thing to go was the plastic Tupperware stuff for the fridge. We bought the glass ones with the silicone seals. We stopped buying meat at the supermarket. We go to a farm now because they'll flash freeze the meat and then wrap it in paper.
Wow.
That was the hardest one because you have to buy like a quarter of a cow at once. It's really expensive, but yeah, it's just been bit by bit.
Okay. For me, I guess, like, because I got into this biohacking and everything after COVID, and I was researching a lot and trying to make some changes in my life. These are more fancier changes than actually just preventing or avoiding plastic. Like, I was going for an earthen pot and I was just trying all the natural way of living. So that already helped me at my home. We don't use plastic as much as possible, and I carry the bag. So all those things I was already doing.
I have an 8-year-old daughter and she loves Barbie. What am I going to do? Am I going to take it away from her? I don't know if I can do that. So that's a big challenge for me there.
Alex, what's the next step for research? Was any other research that you are working on, or any advanced diagnostics that's available for plastic itself?
Yeah, we wanna advance the test. Maybe being able to differentiate in the polymers in the years to come. We're working on different tools, like an environmental tool, like a questionnaire to see what kind of contamination you have. So yeah, we're trying to improve what we have right now, for sure.
Okay. Is there any scope of non-invasive thing, like, like probably a saliva or probably a swab or something that will help us to identify?
Well, we do have a saliva test. I think Alan is going to launch it in the United States very soon, and then we'll launch it in Europe as well. So we do have a saliva test, and then you can get tested for that as well. If you don't want to do the prick, that's maybe the solution. Yeah.
Oh, beautiful.
We started with the blood about a year and a half ago, I think, and ever since then we've been working on the saliva kit, which just wrapped up development, this month. So those will be going live very shortly.
Okay. Now, with all this dialogue going on, this conversation that is happening for a human exposure, what do you see in next 5 to 10 years? How it is going to shape up this whole, the topic of microplastic and nanoplastic in blood?
I think my hope is that it goes from simultaneously from the top down and the down up. I think if consumers are finding this in their blood and in their saliva, they're going to demand new products, and hopefully that the market will provide these products for them. I'm also hoping that some of this research that we do, showing these correlations between plasticity and all these ailments that you're seeing, I'm hoping that will also help the government have put resources towards getting rid of it, because it really needs to be all hands on deck. The government can't do it itself. The people can't do it itself. It really needs to be like a united front on this thing.
Yeah,
Oh,
I see it the same way. There has to be some government pressure and some more research being done by the institutes, and then
mhm.
the consumer needs to decide we don't want plastic in our food anymore. We don't want to buy plastic bottles anymore, and then they're going to demand that, and then the corporations and the businesses have to follow suit. So I think that's where it's going to go. And we already seen that more glass and glass bottles in the supermarket. I think it's already
Mhm.
going in the direction.
Yeah, my last question, is there any, I represent the clinicians community, doctors. So, any message to the doctors community that you have?
I think that you have the chance to be on the forefront of something massive. You know, you can, by being a doctor that's taking this seriously, you're one of the people that led the charge in the early days of something that we are discovering more and more every day is a massive issue, a massive unknown health issue. So you put yourself on the right side of this whole thing, and you have the opportunity to be one of the first to start raising the alarm.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, perfect. I feel that human beings are very selfish species. We start noticing something only when it is affecting us. And you both are, what you have done is to, trigger that conversation which says that now it is not just the planet, it is there in you, and start noticing
Yeah.
it. Thank you so much. I really wish that you expand globally and make it available for everyone. And I'm really grateful for joining my podcast. And I truly appreciate your journey as well as the science work that you do. Your learnings are very much useful to anyone who's listening to this podcast.
Excellent.
Yeah.
And
Thank you very much.
we really appreciate you. We really appreciate you having us on, and thank you so much for everything you're doing.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.